यशोदनन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जन यामुनतीरावनचारी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 9, Shloka number 4. Tasyapi ha va atmajasya vipraha putra snehanubadha mana asama vartanat samskaran yatopadesham vidadhana upanitasya cha punah sauchachamanadhin karma niyaman na anabhiprethan api samashikshayat anushishtena hi bhavyam pituhu putreneti. Word meaning tasya, of him, api hava, certainly, atmajasya, of his son, vipraha, the brahmana, father of Jada Bharat, that is mad or crazy Bharat, putra sneha anubadha manaha, who was obliged by affection for his son, asama avartanat, until the end of the brahmacharya ashram, samskaran, the purificatory processes, yata upadesham, as prescribed in the shastras, vidadhana, performing, upanitasya, of one who has a sacred thread, cha, also, punaha, again, saucha achamana adin, practice of cleanliness, washing of mouth, legs and hands, etc. Karma niyaman, the regulative principles of fruitive activities. Anabhipretanapi, although not wanted by Jada Bharat. Samasikshayat, thought, anusishtena, thought to follow the regulative principles. He, indeed, bhavyam, should be, pituhu, from the father, putrena, the son, iti, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: The Brahmana father's mind was always filled with affection for his son, Jada Bharat or Maharaj Bharat. Therefore, he was always attached to Jada Bharat. Because Jada Bharat was unfit to enter the Grahastha ashram, he simply executed the purificatory processes up to the end of Brahmacharya ashram. Although Jada Bharat was unwilling to accept his father's instructions, the Brahmana nonetheless instructed him in how to keep clean and how to wash, thinking that the son should be taught by the father. Purport: Jada Bharat was Bharat Maharaj in the body of a Brahmana, and he outwardly conducted himself as if he were dull, deaf, dumb, and blind. Actually, he was quite alert. He knew perfectly well the results of fruitive activity, and the result of devotional service. In the body of a Brahmana, Maharaj Bharat was completely absorbed in devotional service within. Therefore, it was not at all necessary for him to execute the regulative principles of fruitive activity. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. One has to satisfy Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the perfection of the regulative principles of fruitive activity. Besides that, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Swanishtita Pumsa Vishvakshena Katasuya Nodphadaye Yatiratim Shamayevahi Kevalam. Duties or dharma executed by men, regardless of occupation, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of Supreme Lord. These karma kanda activities are required as long as one has not developed Krishna consciousness. If one is developed in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to execute the prior regulative principles of karma kanda. Srila Madhavendra Puri said, "O regulative principles of karma kanda, please excuse me. I cannot follow all these regulative principles, for I am fully engaged in devotional service." He expressed the desire to sit somewhere beneath a tree and continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Consequently, he did not execute all the regulative principles. Similarly, Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family. From the very beginning of his life, he was never trained in the Karma Kanda system, but because he was always chanting the holy name of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as Namacharya, the authority in chanting the holy name. As Jada Bharat, Maharaj Bharat was always engaged in devotional service within his mind. Since he had executed the regulative principles continuously for 3 lives, he was not interested in continuing to execute them, although his Brahmana father wanted him to do so. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradkrishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tabhakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here Jada story is continuing. Like we saw in the previous shloka I was just referring to, it's very important aspect I just mentioned that Jada was showing himself as dull, blind, and deaf. That way he was showing himself, and so it is just to keep himself protected from the association, from the bad association. And he was always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting Lord's glories, so which save one from the bondage of fruitive action. And then Prabhupada in the purport, previous purport, fully he concentrates on this aspect of the Navaveda Bhakti, and the aspect of how this is the only thing that can actually keep one protected from the onslaught of material nature. So to remain immune from the material qualities, one must engage himself in devotional service. That is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. So that is the perfection of life. When Maharaj Bharat took birth as a Brahmana, he was not very interested in the duties of a Brahmana, but within he remained a pure Vaishnava, always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. As advised in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru. This is the only process by which one can be saved from danger of repeated birth and death. And so this, like when the comparisons come and when the topics about how these great personalities have rejected the other regulative principles, and which includes the Saucham and Achamana and things like that. So we should be very careful. So this is description of a person who is very, very advanced. So like in Harinam Chintamani seminar, like we had this one, I think it is in the Ashakti stage. No, it happens that when a person is doing a material activity, suddenly his mind switches off to spiritual activity. You know? So before that stage, it is like whenever he is doing spiritual activity, no japa or something like that, his mind is wandering for material activity. Right? So it is like they know that it is important. They know that it is very protective. No, these regulative principles are quite very protective. So cleanliness and what is it, following of the Brahmanical principles, all the rituals and things like that. It's very, very protective for a living entity. So, but then, no, they are so busy, absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord. So they have already attained the perfection, what needs to be attained. So in that sense, like, they are able to give up those things. So then that is not a problem. It is just like, a person who has graduated, he has stopped studying the school books, it is fine. So like and a person who is there still in the process of education, if he also stops studying the school books, then he will never become graduated, so like that. So it is very very important aspect to be understood in that sense. So like here we see that the father, he was very much affectionate to his son. So like even though Jada Bharat was not displaying so much of shrewdness and so much of worldly intelligence and things like that, but still the father is a father, he likes all the children that are there, whether he's good or bad or whatever it is, the father always have affection, right? So one of the things which Dhritarashtra mentions is that I know that what my son is doing is wrong, but because he's my son, so I have affection for him, right? So in that way, we see that, so this affection for something that is produced out of one's own self is very great actually. And so when we actually see that it is as a mercy of the Lord and it is produced out of the mercy of the Lord, so then we get detachment. Detachment means rightful utilization in the service of the Lord, right? So when it becomes like, okay, it is something that I have created, so it is my product, so then immediately the attraction actually comes, then attachment actually comes. So when we understand, okay, this is the energy to produce this has come from Krishna. So the intelligence with which I produced has come from Krishna. So then the end result also belongs to Krishna, right? So when we understand this, for example, children, so here a child is born, so the father did not bring the soul from somewhere. Father did not create the soul, and father did not bring the soul also, right? And then the material nature, no bhumi rapa anala vaya kamma no buddhi revacha. So somebody may say okay, the mother had no put her own body's this one, the child is grown of the body of the mother. So the earth, water, fire, air and ether, that is created by mother. So it is like temporary transformation, and it is ultimately seeing that it is, even for that matter, okay, any earth, water, fire, air, ether you just give to mother and let her make it into a baby. It is not possible. So even that, the Lord only has to do, right? So the Lord gives the feeling of, okay, it is yours, for the sake of taking care of it and for the sake of our material attachment. But when we are in the path of Krishna consciousness, when we are in the path of going back to the spiritual world, so then we should try to see that in another way, that is see that as energy of Krishna, and it should be rightfully used in the service of Krishna. So then it becomes liberating. Then detachment comes. Detachment means using everything rightfully in the service of the Lord. Um, what is that? Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Payunjata Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandha Yuktam Vairagyam Uchate. Right? So this is the proper Vairagya. This is the proper renunciation, is to like Anasaktasya Vishayan, not being attached to the sense objects, and then understanding its real position, its real connection with Krishna, and utilizing them rightly in the service of Krishna. So then that becomes renunciation. So here we see like it's a natural thing that anything that is born out of us, so we become attached to it. Right? So even an idea that is born out of us, we become attached to it, or any results that is born out of us, we become attached to it. So and like in the process of advancing in Krishna consciousness, this is one of the first step that in the ladder, if we put, so the first this one's the like at least before the ladder is the sinful life, so that should not be done. So on the first step in the ladder is that attachment to the fruitive results. So if that is given up, so then the next step is giving up attachment to the ways of working of the karma kanda principles, and then giving up attachment to jnana, and then giving up attachment to yoga and stuff like that. So this is the way the ladder actually progresses. So irrespective of any path of self-realization anybody is practicing, so this is a very, very big hurdle that everybody has to cross, that giving up attachment to the results of one's action. So we had made a seminar on this one. So it is, I was seeing that when I was reading Bhagavad Gita, at the time I had noted this, every single chapter, right from second chapter, Krishna is talking about this. Give up attachment to the results. This is very abominable. This is miserly. This is so many different ways, like he actually mentions. I just traced down the things like so many shlokas, and we were trying to compile for the seminar. So like in six chapters only, so many slokas came that it became like not too much to compile. So it is so many places like Krishna actually speaks about this, because it's a major hurdle to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So okay, and then because Jada Bharat was unfit to enter Grihastha ashram, so why he was unfit? Why he was unfit to enter Grihastha ashram? Huh? He's a brahmachari candidate. Right brahmachari candidate only can enter into Grihastha ashram. He should be a sannyas candidate, then he should not enter into Grihastha ashram. So, yeah, why?
To be a grihastha, some proper karma and some proper ritualistic behavior is needed, so that they gel in the society.
Yeah.
Completely an outcast.
Yeah. So like at least some level of rituals and things like that. Grihastha ashram means we are very eager to perform all the regulative principles, very eager to perform all the rituals that are necessary. So and he was not at all interested any of those things. So any other aspect why he was not fit for Grihastha ashram?
You don't have any livelihood.
हाँ कुछ अर्निंग वर्निंग करना पड़ेगा, कुछ काम धाम करना पड़ेगा, मैनेज करना पड़ेगा घर को and things like that. So it is in many ways like he was unfit for Grihastha ashram. So like he was the samskaras of till the time of brahmacharya ashram, so that was given to him. So and this was like we see in the Vedic times they were very particular about the father's duty. What is the duty of a father? So duty of a father, आजकल like if you ask what is the duty of a father, they'll say like मैं मेरा बेटा के लिए एक घर खरीद के रखा हूँ, and then 2-4 गाड़ी खरीद के रखा हूँ, थोड़ा gold save करके रखा हूँ, so and things like that. So the duty of the father, if you see, like what is some standard anxieties the fathers would have?
Not taking protection of the
Huh?
not taking care of them.
No, about their own duty. शादी कराना है बच्चों को, शादी कराना है, एटलीस्ट वन संस्कार they are still holding on to. So बच्चों को शादी कराना है. That is a very big anxiety that every father has. So कैसे भी करके पढ़ाई कराना है, उसके बाद शादी कराना है, so and things like that. So this is like, so something like we can see that. So like people used to be very this one about samskaras. That is the duty of a father. So he has to perform those samskaras in relation to the child that is born, right? So that is very, very essential for a grahastha to perform. So he was very much interested, in, even though the son is not very what is that, alert, and not a very nice son to have, deaf, dumb, and things like that, but still, like, he didn't give up. He was, very, very duty bound. He was actually performing all the samskaras. So in our congregation also, one devotee, they were having a small child, which was not it was like even after 6-7 years also, like, the child was like only this much, and it used to not have proper consciousness and things like that. But we should appreciate the parents. They took care of the child very nicely. Even whatever medical needs is there and everything, they took care of very nicely. So it is very important that if the person is only focused on sense gratification. So I entered into Grahastha ashram for the sake of sense gratification. Abhi kya nikla? Isko fek do. So, and then, like, continue with sense gratification, right? So sometimes this so happens, like, one of the devotees, like, whom I met somewhere. So he got married, and then he was nice devotee. He got married, and then he found that his wife had some serious health issues and things like that. So then I asked him, so now what are you going to do? So then, it's quite difficult, to lead a normal family life. So then I asked him, what are you supposed to do? No, what are you planning to do now? So then he told, like, no, like, whatever by the blessings of the Lord, no, I've got something, so I will maintain. So that is a very amazing this one. So our life is meant for executing the samskaras, executing the regulative principles, and not for sense gratification. If the focus is of sense gratification, अरे, like, मैं इतना कुछ तपस्या किया, like, शादी किया, किसके लिए? सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन के लिए. अभी वही नहीं मिल रहा, तो like डाइवर्स करो उसको, है ना? So it's so simple that way. So but then here we see that people were, their goal was advancement. Their goal was, even materialistic people, even people who are attached to sense gratification in the Vedic times, they were very, very careful. So if I have got into some deal, if I got into some legal deal, I have to complete it. That is when I'll get punya, that is when I'll get better sense gratification. So even for getting sense gratification, they used to be like so careful about executing. ठीक है, ये life में ठीक है, बर्बाद हो गया. So but okay, let me follow everything nicely. So in the future I will enjoy. So in Vedic times, everything is about future, not about current, not about fast food. Right, so they were very, very duty bound, and they were nicely executing the regulative principles. And here we see that Jada Bharat's father, so he is nicely taking care. What is the best that needs to be done for him, so he is always doing it. And then, although Jada Bharat was unwilling to accept his father's instructions, the Brahmana nonetheless instructed him in how to keep clean and how to wash, thinking that the son should be taught by the father. This is the duty. So the duty has to be performed at any cost. So that is very nicely put forward. So here we can see this is something for us to emulate. Further, this one in the purport, it is not. It is also to emulate, not now, little later. So that is giving up the regulative principles and things like that. So regulative principles of karma kanda, regulative principles of bhakti yoga, we don't give up. So that is the ultimate thing. So that if we give up, then sab khatam. Shravanam kirtanam chhod diya, to like, no, everything is finished. So for the sake of Shravanam and Kirtanam, and when a devotee becomes very much absorbed, and we don't need to ask this question ki, like, how will I know that when should I give up? When should I give up the regulative principles of karma kanda? So it is like saying, a person who is attracted to a woman, he's asking a question, how will I know when should I stop my work and think about that girl? सब जानने की जरूरत नहीं, automatically होगा. So like when the thought about the opposite sex is there, automatically the person is taken into that direction. So in the same way, so when a person becomes advanced in devotional service, so automatically his thought process gets in thoughts of the Lord. So he doesn't need to make some separate plan, when, at what point, and things like that. So it will automatically happen. So Jada Bharat was Bharat Maharaj in the body of a Brahmana, and he outwardly conducted himself as if he were dull, deaf, dumb, and blind. Actually, he was quite alert within. he knew perfectly well the results of fruitive activity and the results of devotional service. So what is the result of fruitive activity?
Higher planets, better
Hmm.
qualities.
Higher planets and things like that, and essentially like karma bandhana. So it binds us to the material world, and results of devotional service is it is actually removes us from the bandhana. So it actually breaks the shackles of the material life. So in this way, like one is the bondage and another is liberation. So that is the results of these two things. And here we see that he is very much attached to like the devotional service of the Lord, and he is not at all interested in getting into karma bandhana, right? So but then like when we have attachment, so then this karma kanda activities, they are very essential for a person who has got attachment. So for him it is purifying, and for a person who has already got detachment, so for him it is bondage, right? So like both the ways, it actually acts. So for a person who is still having attachment, so for him, doing legal sense gratification according to the karma kanda rituals, it's very purifying for him. And for a person who is advanced, for him it is bondage. So it should not be it should not be criticized in such a way that people in general will lose interest in following them. So they should be encouraged to follow that thing. And when a person is advanced, these things must be appreciated, and like maybe in some time, some later time, we will also be able to come to this stage. So these things must be appreciated and not to be imitated. So in the body of a Brahmana, Maharaj Bharata was completely absorbed in devotional service within. Therefore, it was not at all necessary for him to execute regulative principles of fruitive activity. So this, okay, so further is also important. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sanushitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, one has to satisfy Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the perfection of regulative principles of fruitive activity. So perfection of regulative principles of fruitive activity is like Haritoshanam, or remembrance of the Lord, or intense attachment to the Lord. And that is achieved. And because that is achieved, so then there is no more like point in doing the fruitive activity, right? So like the purpose of study is graduation, and if somebody is awarded graduation, then doesn't need to again go back to the school and sit. So that's unnecessary actually. So in the same way, like here also we can see that Prabhupada used to tell one quote, tapasya tata kim आराधितो यदि हरि tapasya tata kim naradito yadi hari tapasya tata kim. So that means aradito yadi hari, so that means you have got attachment to the worship of Supreme Lord. So then why do you do tapasya? The result of tapasya is to worship the Supreme Lord. तो वो तो मिल गया आपको. And naradito yadi hari tapasya tata kim. So if you don't want to worship the Supreme Lord, then what's the point of tapasya? Tapasya is for a person who wants to become attached to the Supreme Lord and who's not. So then he has to do tapasya. So, but if he has got attachment to the Supreme Lord, then what's the point of tapasya? And if he doesn't want attachment to the Supreme Lord, then what's the point of tapasya? So like that. So here we see that he has already achieved the perfection of the fruitive activity. Perfection of the regulative principles of fruitive activity. So then there is no more thing to be achieved, for him. So he doesn't need to do that. So it is not the fruitive activity is something. It is not the end of end of the game. The end of the game is Krishna consciousness, and fruitive activity is a intermediate step. So, but Krishna consciousness is the final thing. So like now we are chanting, now we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, and hearing and listening and things like that. All these things. So these are all like prime devotional activities which need not to be given up even in the later point in time. But fruitive activity has to be given up, at later point in time. So one devotee was telling that Grahastha Ashram is a agreement for retirement after 20 years, 25 years. तो agreement sign करके अंदर जाना है कि like 25 साल में वापस आ जाऊंगा ऐसा नहीं कि like what is that lifetime imprisonment, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए sorry, lifetime imprisonment नहीं वो ठीक है, वो भी बोल सकते हैं. So it's not like permanent solution. It has a clause that needs to be after that class we have to exit. So in the same way, like here also we see that fruitive activity is also, it has a certain limit, after a certain period, so we have to give it up. So anyway, it has to be given up, and a person who has achieved perfection of that, so then if he gives it up, it is not at all a problem. So seeing that if some what is it, some school going kid gets dropped off from the school, that's a problem. So if somebody gets graduation and he goes off from the school, it's okay, it's fine, so he can go. So it should not be taken very seriously. Anyway, school has to be given up at certain point in time. So besides that, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Sanushrita Pumsham Vishwakshena Katashriya Notpadaya Didiratim Shamayevahi Kevalam. So on the other side is that, if somebody is executing the devotional principle, so somebody executing the dharma, that is the regulator principles of fruitive activity, in this current context, we can take it like that. So, and then if he is not developing attraction, if his attraction to the Supreme Lord is not gradually growing, so then there is no point in executing that fruitive activity, right? So it is not that if somebody is attracted to the Supreme Lord, and then if he is not doing fruitive activities, so then it is not a problem. So, but somebody is engaged in fruitive activity, and if he is not developing attraction to the Supreme Lord, then it is a problem, right? So this very nicely Narada Muni puts, what is that? Bhajan Napakvata Tato, what is that? Tyaktva Swadharmam Charanam Bhujam Harer. So if we give up the Swadharma, so that is the dharma in terms of Varna and Ashrama. So Tyaktva Swadharmam Charanam Bhujam Harer. So if he is executing devotional service unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and Bhajan Apakva, he is not able to perfect his bhajan, Bhajan Apakva Tato Patet Tato Edi. So even if he falls from his path of devotional service, what is that? This one? Yatra Pa Va Badra Abu Damasyakim. So there is not much of, it is not much of a problem actually. Even if he gives up his material activity and material duties, dharma, and then execute Krishna consciousness, with full focus, and then in execution of Krishna consciousness, he has somehow or other fallen from his path, right? So even if it is the case, what is a loss in this whole thing, right? So, but then Narada Muni is telling, what is the fourth line? Ko varta apto abhajatam swadharmata. So it is without bhajan, without devotional service to the Supreme Lord, if he is what is that? Very nicely executing his dharma. So then what's the point, right? So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, many instances of this, this sloka is very much in lines with the Dharma Svanishchita Pumsam. So it is we can see that the importance of developing attraction to the Supreme Lord is given, and even the dharma is followed for this purpose. Even the dharma of regulative principles of Varna and Ashrama is followed for this purpose of developing attraction to the Supreme Lord. So the duties, dharma executed by men, regardless of occupation, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction to the message of Supreme Lord. The karma kanda activities are required as long as one has not developed Krishna consciousness. If one is developed in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to execute the prior regulative principles of karma kanda. So this is this, just to make a person dharmic, and just to dovetail one's attachment to the material things in such a way that he can develop attraction to the Supreme Lord. So without the karma kanda, so then it becomes sinful, and it becomes very difficult to develop attraction to the Supreme Lord. So one who is very sinful, it's quite difficult for him to become Dhrida or very strongly attached to Krishna. So he can enter into Krishna consciousness by the mercy of some devotees, by honoring prasadam or by the mercy of some devotees. But if he has to become a very solid devotee, so then he has to become sinless. That is essential. So Srila Madhavendra Puri said, O regulative principles of karma kanda, please excuse me. He actually puts in all this ones, regular bathing, please excuse me, my Sandhya Vandan, please excuse me, and so many other things he mentions, now I am fully engaged in the devotional service. Excuse me means what? I want to do, but then no. No, I'm just forgetting it. I'm just so much involved and so much absorbed in devotional service. So I'm not getting time, and I'm not getting this one. And I'm not also seeing the purpose. No, so just to set an example, I must do it, but then still no kuch ho nahi pa raha hai, like no chhod do usko, like that. So it is no, it is of that case. And then he expressed the desire to sit somewhere beneath a tree and continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now we see the ultimate goal is to become attached to Shravanam and Kirtanam, become attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that also has to be, that needs to be nicely cultivated. No, that goal needs to be there. So without goal, execution of a particular activity, no, may not result in no good result. No, so the goal is attachment to Krishna. So then that needs to be cultivated. No, that needs to be cultivated even when a person is doing his varna and ashrama duties. So we see that whenever there is no sadhus come. So like we were reading in Krishna book that. When Garga Muni comes to Nanda Maharaj's place. So that time Nanda Maharaj is telling like, no, we householders are always forgetful of the ultimate goal of attaining the Supreme Lord and things like that. So, no, like please enlighten us, no, about Krishna consciousness. So this is this one. So we can see that even though they were nicely executing the Varna Ashrama duties, so but still they are very much this one about goal, no. So they are always, they know that by execution of Varna Ashrama duties, sometimes we may miss the goal, no. We may get absorbed in some secondary principles, and we may lose sight of the primary principles. And whenever they get an opportunity to meet a brahmana, to meet a sadhu, no, they will always inquire about this particular aspect. Please help us to again keep the focus on the ultimate goal. So in like when I was working in the organization, they used to have this orientation program once in a while, and then every time they used to come and tell the same thing, like the company stands for these 5 things, and so like what is that something they used to tell. So I used to think that finally, like somebody has to write code and some result has to come. It has to be sold to the customer and we have to get the money, right? So that's what fuels. And why these people are talking about these principles, this is what drives the company. This is what we have to keep focus on and things like that. So I used to have this, and then finally like I understood that it is very essential for keeping focus on the ultimate goal. Why are we here? What is the purpose of our existence and things like that. So even a material organization, they also follow this particular thing, the orientation of the entire organization, entire team, towards one particular goal, and that actually helps. So, and people who are working for that goal, so the grassroots level employees, they may forget the actual goal, because they are so much busy executing the like nitty-gritties of the of the activities. So they may forget this goal. So that is why there is a section of people, so who are brahmanas and sadhus, who are meant to practice and indulge only in the goal, and rest of the people, so they are still attached, but still they have to have the goal in the picture. So these sadhus, they keep traveling and keep reminding people about, this is the goal, don't forget this thing, right? So that is the purpose of the existence of the sadhus in the society, right? So now here we see that he like this desire. So this, even though a person is executing the karma kanda rituals, or he is following the varnashrama duties, but still he should have nice time allocated for practicing this shravanam and kirtanam, so that gradually that attraction towards them has to be developed. And then Prabhupada is mentioning about Haridas Thakur's example. So like, at least Madhavendra Puri was following all these things and he gave it up. Haridas Thakur never had an opportunity to follow all these things. So he was born in a Mohammedan family, and then directly he took up to the chanting of the names of the Lord, and then directly he became intensely attached to Shravanam and Kirtanam. So like it is, the Vedic scriptures are very nice, and here Acharya is also pointing out the important aspect. So somehow or other, the graduation has to happen. If it is awarded, it is honorary graduation, or वो पूरा रट मार के सब क्लास में जाके निकला, और फेल होके निकला, कुछ भी करके ग्रेजुएशन में पहुंच जाओ. ग्रेजुएशन में पहुंच गया तो सब कुछ हो गया, है ना. So here Haridas Thakur directly achieved graduation, so it is good. No, so graduation pahunch gaya. So that is nice. So like it is not a problem. So then like he was very much attached to the chanting of the names of the Lord, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made him Namacharya. No, even it is not that like no, tum LKG se aaya ki like no honorary mein aaya. Like it doesn't matter. So somehow or other you have reached the goal. So then no, like so then such a person is accepted as an authority. No? So as Jada Bharat, Bharat Maharaj was always engaged in devotional service within mind. Since he had executed the regulative principles continuously for 3 lives, he was not interested in continuing to execute them, although his Brahmana father wanted him to do so. So, like he had sufficiently done in the past lives, and this is also there mentioned in this that famous shloka Swapacha, that Aho Bata Swapachato Dahiyan. So that in that this one it is very nicely mentioned. If a person has come to the point of chanting the names of the Lord, that means he must have executed all the regulative principles necessary. So in the past lives, no. So like that. So here also we see that he has come to the point of exclusive devotional service of the Lord. So it also means that in the past lives he has executed all the necessary prerequisites that are necessary. So or he has got somehow or other he has got the ultimate conclusion of it. So now he is no more interested in executing those regulative principles. No, although his Brahmana father, so that is a desire of the father. Like, no, if he doesn't execute all these things, then how will he advance? So, but internally he is already advanced, and he was not very much interested in executing them. Right. So, with this, I pause. Any questions or comments can take. Yes, ma'am.
So Jada Bharat was a devotee, and his father was attached to Jada Bharat, but he was not aware that he is a devotee. So such kind of attachment can also lead to purification or elevation or.
So service to a Vaishnava, no, is very powerful. Knowingly or unknowingly, service to Vaishnava. Agyata Sukruti, it happens, no? So like that. So service to a Vaishnava is very purifying. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned who performs the principles correctly, they will get better sense gratification. So how to understand this sense gratification in material enjoyment, wife and husband, if the purpose is for getting the son who dedicated their life for God, that is accepted in material way. But the same thing, how to understand this sense gratification in spiritual world. You mentioned in previous, there is no birth and death. So what is the point of wife and husband? Is there any chance in spiritual also wife and husband relations are there?
Yeah, there also it is there.
So the purpose of sense gratification in spiritual world is
Purpose sense gratification in spiritual world means no gratifying Krishna's senses.
So there also wife and husband.
They stay together. So in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see the 4 Kumaras entering the Vaikuntha is there. So there descriptions of the family life in Vaikuntha is mentioned. So how the residents of Vaikuntha, so they serve the Lord, together as husband and wife. So that is mentioned over there. You can study that.
That point where it is mentioned the husband is not attached to wife. Even when she's so beautiful, they all are attached to Krishna.
Yeah. So everyone is like there. The women is very, very beautiful. Than we cannot even imagine, like even in the heavenly planets. So that much beautiful the women are in the spiritual world. So, but then, they don't have. Everyone has attraction to Krishna. No. So every other attraction actually is overpowered by attraction to Krishna. So because here, we don't have the revelation of Krishna, so we don't have access to Krishna. So then anything else like glowworms, so they become attractive in the absence of sun. So that's how other things are becoming very attractive. So whenever we see something attractive in this world, so we can pray to the Lord. No, oh Lord, please reveal yourself unto me. If you can allow me to hear your names nicely, and if you can allow me to have a nice chanting session, so then I'll be attracted by you, rather than attracted by any other aspects. So it is the attraction to anything else means it's lack of attraction of Krishna. right? So that is the primary this. And if sun is there, then automatically glowworm will lose its importance. So param drushya nivartate, right? So in that way, so they were having direct access to Krishna. So when they were having darshan of Krishna, so then what else will be attractive in front of that thing, you know? So it's like, no, you're served Karela sabji and गुलाब जामुन, naturally hand will go to गुलाब जामुन. You know, कुछ बोलने का जरूरत नहीं है, you know. So and the sweet that we are enjoying now, so in the material world, actually that is the best possible thing that we can get, and we are actually able to think that it is sweet. So when the sweetness of Krishna is put, then we'll understand this is Karela sabji. You know, so ये नहीं, इसमें इतना ये नहीं है, है ना? So like it is in comparison we actually able to understand. So like कुछ भी नहीं है तो like जो है उसमें taste बन जाएगा. So in one place I heard that the cross culture training for going to hellish planets, for going to lower species. So if a person has to go to the species of pig, he's put in a hellish planet where there is a huge pit is there and lot of obnoxious things, stool and this one and all these things are there. So first the living entity is put into that hell, like he'll be like this. And after some time he'll start developing some nice, ये भी तो अच्छा है, smell अच्छा है, but खा नहीं सकता है. But after some time he starts eating and he starts developing taste, and when he develops taste he is put in the body of pig. So then he nicely enjoys. So this one. So anybody passes, there is some areas in some villages there are pig infested areas, so where people go to pass stool, they will have stick in the hand. So क्योंकि hot खाना आ जाता है actually, भगाते हैं. कम से कम इतना देर वेट करो पूरा खत्म हो जाए. नहीं तो आदमी को गिरा के काम करके चले जाते हैं. So that much taste a person gets, it is because of the cross culture training. So in this way, the enjoyment in this material world, it is actually obnoxious. So enjoyment in the earthly planet, when the heavenly people see these guys are what are such a nasty guys, the enjoyment aisa karte hain, so like that. And so in the heavenly planets, in the planets like Brahmaloka and things like that, so when they see heavenly planets, they see that this is quite an obnoxious enjoyment. And when in the Vaikuntha, enjoyment means serving Krishna. Enjoyment means giving pleasure to Krishna's senses. So that is real enjoyment, right? So that's how enjoyment is done, right? So that's how this thing happens. Yes, sir.
We have different abodes, Vaikuntha, Vrindavan. So for different incarnations, we have different lokas. So how to understand what is the difference between that is different incarnations also Krishna. So what is the difference? Only focusing on Vrindavan, going back to Vrindavan.
So anywhere if we go, it is safe only. So there's no problem. So it is about the aspect of Aishwarya. So if somebody is attracted to the Aishwarya feature of the Lord, so then he will end up in the Vaikuntha. So but if he is exclusively attached to it's a difficult subject to explain. Maybe in some class we can take it as full subject and explain that. Okay. Any other questions or discussions? We have 11 more minutes to go.
So we are talking about giving up the fruitive activities and all of that. So our conditions we are not following only. So what is the point of giving?
Already given up. So you have two choices. One is to properly follow the fruitive activity, or another is intensely take up the bhakti. So these are two things are there. We should not remain sinful. Yes, ma'am.
So it has been told that Bharat Maharaj did not do anything in a good way because he wanted to not get into bad association. So, but if we are working in company, how can we follow this level or?
Yeah, everybody is welcome to follow this level. Bad association. Give up bad association. Work from home. Yeah, so like our devotees are very merciful. So they go to office only to spread Krishna consciousness, only to give association to other people. So like they take prasadam and distribute, and they they wear Vaishnava tilak and shika, and they go so that like people can be reminded of Krishna. So and sometimes they go in dhoti kurta also to the office. So that people get an opportunity to think of Krishna, right? So if not possible of this much, at least to some extent, we should try to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So here we see in the previous shloka it is mentioned that more we remember of Krishna, so more we will be protected. So I'm also grateful to some devotees who are going to office like this, wearing pant shirt and tilak and things like that. So and they were conducting some reading program, in the office, and that's how I got into Krishna consciousness. So many devotees here are more fortunate; they got in Krishna consciousness while studying. So I got into Krishna consciousness while working. So like this is how in office. In the lunch time, so we used to meet for reading session. So like that, in 4 years we completed first canto of Bhagavatam. So every day 1 hour. So like that, and at the end, before end of first canto, like I joined ashram. And when I was there in ashram, so I was not having any association. I was the only one who joined. So and I used to attend the program in the office. That is the only program that was happening. After joining ashram, so I used to attend program which is happening in the office. एक साल वैसा चला like तब तक कुछ और ब्रह्मचारीज आ गए. So then so like I used to that time I used to beg from devotees, like I'm akela, like you should join ashram. So they would tell no, we should get married and things like that. Like मुझे बचाने के लिए कम से कम join करो. बाद में देख लेंगे शादी करने का. So I used to drag people into the ashram because that's the survival of the fittest. So survival के लिए कुछ तो चाहिए. So that way. So it is good. Like we can start reading sessions in the office in the lunchtime and things like that. कुछ और ब्रह्मचारीज मिलेंगे हमको. हम ब्रह्मचारी ना बने या नहीं बने, दूसरा बन सकते हैं.
So this, since this topic came out office, sometimes devotees are very conscious and cautious of Kanthimala and all that. They loosen their Kanthimala and sometimes some Grasta devotees also say that when I'm counseling Grasta devotees, so don't know what they will think about us, so we hide and things like that. So what should be our priority? What are we supposed to do? Because now we are devotees.
Yeah.
So hiding the identity and living a duplicit life. How to understand?
So one is like a person who is very much determined to execute devotional service, and like to the best of their capacity, they are keeping they are keeping themselves with all the nice principle of truthfulness and integrity and things like that and all. So then they can boldly wear and go. Otherwise, if they are very loose in their practice, so then it is better that they hide, because otherwise they'll unnecessarily bring bad name to the devotional service. So serious devotees should be encouraged to wear and go. And that. So otherwise it is they are so much attached, and they'll be doing, sometimes they'll be eating onion and garlic, and then other people will say like, क्या भक्ति कर रहे तुम, chance मिला तो ये भी मारते वो भी मारते. So then it becomes like difficult, this one. So like that. Maybe they can just wear Kantimala or something like that. So more serious devotee they can wear tilak. More serious devotee they can go with shika, things like that.
So this is one aspect about seriousness of devotee. But I've seen that some devotees are serious. They are sincere also, but they're shy, to say that yes, I'm part of ISKCON, I'm doing devotional service. One part. Another thing is thinking that maybe I'll not be able to build a relationship with these people.
No, relationship will get built. So what used to happen is, like I was there in the same team, before coming into Krishna consciousness and after getting into Krishna consciousness, and they have seen my Vishwarupa before. And suddenly, like, I started wearing Kantimala, and Tilak and Shika and things like that, and it's like too much shocking for them. And they used to taunt and this, that, and all, and sometimes they used to keep distance and things like that. But then I've seen over a period of time, whenever there is any problem, so they would come to me saying that, okay, this person is reliable. We can go to him, so we can get some proper proper angle of thought, how we need to do things and things like that. So in that way, like over a period of time, we develop relationship. Initially it will go, it'll so that the previous relations that we have developed, so that may go, because that's on the basis of sense gratification. So now a fresh relationship will develop on the basis of devotional service. This is what I am, so what's the problem in declaring? If we are sincere, then we can. So like one devotee was explaining that a devotee will go through some 3-4 different stages. First, people will say like dekhenge kitna din tak karega ye. And so then second stage is like they become astonished. Ab tak kar raha hai. It's a big thing. And then like first is like criticism, like why are you doing this, that, and all, and then second is like dekhte hain kitna din tak karenge. And then the third stage is like Ashcharya, like even till this point he is doing. And the fourth stage is like appreciation, and fifth stage is like following. So like first everybody will start with criticism only. So we should not we should not budge for that. So if we budge for that, then their only preaching is gone. So first people will criticize, then after that they'll appreciate, and then they'll follow. So all these things will over a period of time it happens. So it is, see, anywhere there is a sincere practice of something, genuine practice of something, so with time it actually gains momentum. So but then like if there is the sincere practice and genuine practice is not there, so then we will get wavered. So even if genuine practice is there, like then we are affected by this criticism and things like that, then we will be put off. So we should not be. So anywhere there is sincere, genuine practice is there, that is going to gain momentum over a period of time. That's the most important thing. So even in the preaching aspect also, like most important thing is like we want to create few sincere, genuine practitioners of Krishna consciousness, and that will gain momentum over a period of time. So that is the key aspect actually. So in the same way, like in the individual practice also, so if somebody is genuinely practicing something sincerely, so over a period of time he'll just wash off everybody. Like even 100 people are there, 1,000 people are there on the floor, he'll just wash off everybody. Because the sincere, genuine practice, even if it is small in quantity, so it will have such a momentum that it can just like bulldoze everybody else's thought, everybody else's principles and things like that. That's why even governments also take note of any group of people who are very much devoted to particular cause, and if they are increasing in number, even if they are there in 0.5% or even 0.1% or something like that, it is a threat. It is a threat to the if that group has an ideology different from the government, so then it is a threat to the government. And so because they are cohesive and they are like they are to the purpose. Then it's like then it becomes unshakable. So even the invaders, they were not very huge in numbers. They were like small in numbers, but then they were like cohesive and they had a purpose, and they were like very much to the purpose. They were just like lakhs and crores of people, few thousands of people they just controlled, So that is the power. That's the power of any where like something is cohesively done and genuinely done. So it has so much of momentum actually over a period of time. ठीक है. So it's time up now. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.